Hey everyone, Marsh from Consequence here. Just talking about Artificer. Again, target for normal and heroic. We'll talk about mythic a little. So this fight has changed a few times during the PTR cycle, and I have my normal bot here, and I'll be pointing to normal a lot, and I'll talk about the heroic changes um, when I see them. But the idea here is you kind of want to kite around the room and push the boss. Uh, before certain timers potentially, but also using the portal mechanic to get around the rings. So what I'm going to do here is kind of just talk about the mechanics. So in here, I kind of listed down some of the priority systems that we'll do. So number one, range will bait clockwise and drops traps ideally behind them. I mean, they'll drop around you, but you kind of leave them and in the dust. Um, Also to note, the tank grip, if they grip you through, and the tank has a mechanic that will grip you to the tank. It's like a bomb. If you get gripped through a trap, you'll get trapped. Um, Also, we do not drop portals in the center because if you that's where the rings come from, so you could instantly die. Uh, we kind of ran into that in testing. Maybe they'll change it, but I doubt it. Um, Immunes clear traps on normal, but not on heroic and mythic, so keep that in mind. You'll see immune clears in this video, but it is not, you're not going to be able to do anything with it. Also, getting trapped on this fight is terribly bad. I don't think you can even bop people out. Human racial does work though of your alliance, so that's pretty insane actually. Um, and that's basically it. So what I'm going to go is I'm going to go through the video and can talk about things. And it's all about these positionings of these bombs. So as you see here, we start in the front of the room. And the reason for that is we want to bait traps here because we're never going to come back here again. And just to talk about Mythic, there's little gaps here that you need to go over and kill ads in Mythic. If you remember like Portal Keeper from Antaurus, it's kind of similar. Um, but the first thing we do is we have our tank always drop here, and the other player always drop at certain locations. So the tank player dropped there, and the other player dropped here. The tank could have probably dropped here just to reduce a little more distance, but it doesn't matter. So see how we're cutting the traps, and then we're slowly moving. Traps are coming down. And these little circles on the ground are barrage from the airship. So we're just going to go through the ring, and that's it. We take no extra damage and anything like that. Now this next tank mechanic, you can do things a lot of different ways. The safe plan is to go over here and reduce distance. What we decided to do, or we were trying on this pull, is we had the tank come over here because what's going to end up happening, and maybe we should have linked the hit, but what ends up happening is that traps spawn as soon as that happens. So when we were gripping it over here in heroic, the traps would spawn over there, as you see right here, and then we couldn't clear them, and it would just make the fight harder, which is why you saw that. And once he's at 75% chance, he goes into an intermission. So this is where like push timers come into play. So with the boss HP, remember we had double legendary and force set during normal testing. Yeah, we're scaled down, but this was probably the one normal fight that like kind of felt like a real heroic fight, like heroic tuning with our terrible gear. Well, we had low eye level, but like double, like I think like the 4-piece and the double legendary actually made us like as strong as we would be now. And this was probably, even though we were like what, like 20 eye levels below what we are now. So anyway, these ads come out, and there's two ads here. There's one that do a cast and one that does I didn't write them in my knockup here, but these acolytes here, they'll start doing a cast that you have to kill them before they finish their cast. If they finish their cast, they will actually just one-shot the raid. So here it's not that big of a deal because it's normal, and I do think their health was a little low. But if I go here and I look at acolytes, upon reaching 100 energy, it becomes immune to CC, and it will just do this casting, the cast and kill you. So for a damage dealer, you want to stun them during this cast, and you also want to make sure that you kill them before they hit unearned being become CC immune. They also have a tank frontal. It was really poorly, like, it was very hard to see, but so make sure you spam Mr. X and Trixes on your tank. And then these other guys, they just have an interruptible cast. It'll reduce your movement speed. So once everything's dead, you'll move into the next phase. Now, the next phase, as you see here, we've kind of left these traps in the dust. Now, in Heroic, you might see someone clear them just to make things easier down the line. But, you know, the next spot we're going to go to is green. So this is how, like, our normal strategy was. We put in green, and then you see the tank here, putting it there, and now it's the same thing. So the tank grip, actually you don't have timers. But again, the ring's about to come, and then you should get a tank grip if I remember. So one thing to note, and I didn't talk about this the first time, whatever ring, so you'll see the ring come from the middle. So see how it's coming from the bottom up? That means it's going to come from the outside in. If you see it come up, down, it's going to come from the middle. So as you see, it's going up, up, up. So we know that you're going to get a ring here. And that's why we were kind of going in the middle, and then our tank gets it. And we just had our tank go left here to reduce distance. And then we have to spread out. Maybe it's better to go right, because as you see, traps spawn. But once you start taking it to the other side, there are traps over there already. So we decided just to take it to the left, and we'll deal with traps later. So this was the bug in normal testing, which I assume won't exist. So you see how this ring's coming, it's going down up, which means it's coming from the outside. If you push the boss after this ring finished in normal testing, the last phase will just bug out. The spell queuing wouldn't allow you to take portals. So we had to push it during there, and we did. And you see me clearing traps here. You cannot do this in other difficulties. But again, your acolytes here are going to do a cast. So you see like me targeting down the acolyte, and I want to stun the acolyte as well during its casts. But that's it. We target down acolytes, and we'll phase. Just give it a second. Alright, now the last phase, you know, I have a purple marker and a moon marker here. So maybe it was better to drop at moon if we were baiting traps here, but we're going to drop that at purple. Oh no, moon. Okay, good. I actually called it. So we drop tank, DPS, baiting traps here, and see, good trap bait, really good trap bait actually. And now we're gonna get the ring. So let's watch. This is the most important part, and I'm trying to. Oh, okay, so it's coming top down, so you know that you're gonna go on the outside, and then there's a double ring here, and this is like the enrage, and also you save lust for the 50% burn. So we're gonna go in when it's safe. And this is the other important part. So this is what we had to figure out. The tank gets a debuff at the same time as the ring. Now, it seems like in the back-end code, okay, this is more of a talking about Mythic. So when you get gripped through the beam, in the past, in Mythic testing, you'd get a debuff, a ticking debuff. It did some damage to you. Now, it seems like when you get gripped through the beam, no debuff is applied to you. So what we were doing here, assuming that we get the dot, we'd have the tank grip us through the portal, and that's how we get out. Now we might be able to have the tank take the portal over and grip us through the ring. So there was kind of two ways to handle it. Depending on how the coding works out, you can either do what we just did here, where you have the tank grip us through, or the tank goes over early and grips you through the ring. Those are the two things that would happen. And anyway, from here, it's just going to keep repeating itself and getting more and more and more and more intense. So the portals go away. So ideally, this guy dropped the portal in the corner, and you see me kind of looking over here because I was probably thinking about it. But, you know, the next set of portals want to move over just because look at these traps. You don't want to mess around with these too much. We have really good baits, but this would have made it easier to handle. And, like, see this trap here? Like, this guy is baiting all the traps here. But, like, if we dropped it over here, it wouldn't have been an issue. So again, I'm going to go through the portal. It's coming down up, so we're going to go through. And again, the tank thing comes out. So in theory, see how we're setting up to get grip through? In theory, he could have just take this over, and we get grip through the ring now. But now we're going through, and then we're going to spread out. And again, it's just getting crazier and crazier and crazier. And that's a repeat of the rest of the fight. So, and then we'll basically, the rings will just keep coming and coming and coming until we either die or we kill the boss. So as you see here, I just keep going through the rings. I see this is going down up, so this is going to come in. So now I'm waiting. And I'm going to go through. And there's another ring. This is going to come from the inside out. So I'm going to be standing over here waiting to go through. Oh, I was just trying to immune through it. So, and yes, you can immune through rings like you just saw me there. I took absolutely, like that will actually one-shot you. So the tank grips us through. Again, he might be able to grip you through the other end. And that's basically the whole fight. So, kind of talking about Mythic slightly. There's 3 ads on 3 platforms you have to kill. You have to Warlock Gate over. It seems like Warlocks are basically required for this fight. Just an FYI. Depending, there's a lot of theories on like how to place the portals and how to get gripped around. Because you can Warlock Gate over, but how do you get back? Okay, we can have Venthirs do it, but how do you do the next one? So just like a heads up to Mythic, you'll have to like kind of think about classes with short DPS CDs that can burst down ads really quickly, potentially. But even for us, we haven't really mapped out that too in depth because of like, one, they've changed the fight a few times, and 2, like there's clearly going to be a right way to do this, and you know, I don't know quite that is yet, so we'll just look at another guild. But anyway, that's the fight. That's Artificer. Big takeaways: bait traps, use the portal, drop the portals in the right spots, use the portals to get around the rings, and depending on what they end up doing, use the tank grip to grip you through the portal or through the ring, depending on the situation. But that's Artificer, and that's everything I got, so peace out.